Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.
Hey guys, this is my weekly report for May 11th. And as you know, I put out a video every Monday, and I also do a report on every Wednesday. And I got a lot of information from myself being on the water probably the most, and I'm probably on the water at least 3 times a week. But I got a lot of guides that I've brought up, and then I got a lot of friends that are always on the water, so I get a lot of information, and I also hear it at the shop. But I get a lot of information so I could do these reports for you guys once a week, and they're really current. So if you watch the videos and you like it, hit that like, because it lets me know that, you know, I'm doing it right and that you're actually learning something from it. And then also, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button, because it'll help me, you know, on my YouTube channel. So this is going to be the report for May 11th, and the fishing is still really good. We got a lot of unstable weather, which is helping the bass fishing because it puts them off instead of them going into their spawn. So the bass season pre-spawn is probably one of the easiest times to catch them. I did a video last week, well this last Monday, it came out on chatterbaits, and I showed how I trick them out and how I actually go about picking that and deciding that I wanted to throw a chatterbait out. But look for it as this last Monday when it came out. Also, I think right now, if you came and asked me, I would tell you that probably the hottest thing going on right now is the halibut fishing in the bay. It's a little early. There's no live bait receivers open yet, so everybody's using tray bait. You know, your green label anchovies seem to be the best, and they're everywhere. You could go Berkeley Flats, Richmond, you could go to Alameda Rockwall, you could go anywhere and about catch your limits of halibut. And the thing is, it's really early, and they've been running pretty good size, anywhere from probably around 8 to 15 pounds. Jay Lopes has been out there. He had a crew out there Saturday. First time ever fishing out there, and the gal caught one like 14, 15 pounds right off the get-go, and they seem to probably got their easy limits. John, good friend of ours, he was out there, him and another guy, they had 6, so the limit's 3 there, and they all looked in that 12 to 15 pound range. So the halibut fishing is probably the hottest right now. So for ocean salmon, around these parts has been so rough out there, you know, your sport boat fishermen guys can't even get out there, it's so rough. But the bulk of the fish are still up down south, so you know you got to go to past Pacifica and further south. But I'm sure there's fish around here, but getting out has been a problem. So for bass fishing, guys, Folsom last week came up over 25 feet, and Don, who's a guide, was up there, sent me some photos of his clients catching a lot of them. They caught them on jerk baits, and they caught them on small swim baits like Kitex. And then this other friend of mine, he's been catching them, but he's catching them all drop shot. So it just tells me that, you know, it's pretty easy up there to catch fish. And usually when a lake is rising, it's a lot better. The fishing will improve daily versus a lake that's falling. It gets really tough. So I imagine all the lakes around here, you can catch bass, and the delta. It's just that time of the year where there's fishing is good everywhere. Then you got your stripers down in the delta. They're all the way up to Calusa. James Netzel, he was down in the delta on Saturday, sent me a picture of his client that had one over 30 pounds. And there's quite a few guys down there catching lots of nice sized stripers right now. And even a friend of mine, Charles, he was up there, and he had them up to 12 pounds this weekend, but he caught over 30 fish himself. So the bite's been really good for that. So for stripers, I went up north last week and I got the opportunity to fish with Rustic Rob. He has a YouTube channel also, and he was on fish 2 days before we got there. He said he saw them spawning on the surface and he caught abundance of stripers up there. And so happened when we went that, you know, they disappeared. So usually when they go up that high up north and they spawn, they don't stick around. They turn around and hightail it out of there, and they'll feed their way all the way back down in the delta. But he has a website and he also has a YouTube channel, so give him a look. So even though it was very tough and the fish hightailed it out of there, we did manage to catch some undersize, and Denise caught a couple fish about that big. So, you know, it ended up, you know, we salvaged the trip and caught some fish. Down locally, down here in the delta over by Rio Vista, my brother was out there last week and they were catching a lot of them on this flat in about 2 to 3 feet of water. And he remembered me, and I gave him some of these Blade Runner spoons that I was testing. And he goes out and he picked it up and he said it was unbelievable. Every cast, he just kept whacking them, you know. And I think it's because he thought that he could get it out further away from the boat. But I told him, I said, when you cast that thing out there, you're further and you're reeling it and stop and reeling it in that shallow water, you're covering a lot more water than just throwing a swim bait out and reeling it real slow. So he ended up slaughtering them. And those spoons are now available. You can get them anywhere now, so they're on the market. A friend of mine, Charles, he was up there and he had them up to 12 pounds this weekend, but he caught over 30 fish himself. So the bite's been really good for that. So you got sturgeon still in the area, but a lot of the guys are turning to the halibut in the bay now, but there's still a lot of sturgeon being caught. A lot of sturgeon up north. You know, if you go up north and you catch them, they're probably most likely going to be oversized, because those are the ones that go further up in the river system to spawn. Sturgeon up north, like I said, be careful because a lot of them are oversized. Fishing Game just did a bust on these guys that were taking these oversized fish out of there. So as for trout fishing, you could try comanche, pardee, amador. But berryessa seems to be on. It started last week, and there's guys catching them on small kitex these guys are bass fishing. But I'm sure you could go up there and throw speedy shiners or pull rapalas and have no problem catching them. So another thing is, I wanted to talk to you guys about bass fishing too again, because Clear Lake is crazy off the hook. There are so many fish on beds right now that it's unbelievable. If you go up north, you're going to cruise around in the shallows, you know, where you put your boat in 5 feet or less, and you're going to see them, and you have to be really patient. Try to keep the sun in your back, and you'll actually see them cruising around, and they're actually catching them. And also the crappie up there, they're still on beds, so you could catch a lot of crappie. They've been running in that ½ pound to 3 pound range, and a lot of big fish being caught. Around here, also again, I snuck up kokanee fishing, and I got into them pretty hot and heavily, you know, where, you know, you're constantly catching them or getting bit. A lot of times we were looking at our camera equipment stuff, getting it ready, and when Denise revealed the camera, she said she saw the rods getting hit and we weren't even looking at them. But we got so many bites that trip we were up there, and just from people that are coming around at the shop talking to me, they're saying, you know, they're having the same problem, too many fish. And they're in that 10 to 12 inch range, and they're really tasty. So one of the things, you bank guys, the American River starting to show a few shad. There's been reports of it's been good, like the first hour light and the first hour before dark is the best, and the little 1 inch pink and chartreuse grubs have been working the best. but it's just starting. It's a little early, and if you really want to get into them, I would probably go up to Verona or either the mouth of the American and give it a try. So my tackle tip for this week is pretty simple. Go look back the last few days, and I posted a video on chatterbaits. So if you take a trailer on a chatterbait and you put, I normally run a Zacco, Yamamoto Zacco on my chatterbaits, and it has actually a tight wiggle, and I use a jackhammer. And then if I were to take it off and put a split tail eel, like a worm, a little trailer worm, and put it on there, the action is twice as wide, so then it starts kicking around a lot wider, kind of like the Blade Runner chatterbait. And I found that this time of the year for bass, I'd rather use the tight wiggle one, so I put the Jocko on it, and then later in the summer, then I'll go to the little worm where it has more shake to it. And I think stripers like it more radical too. So that's the tip of the week. So I'll see you guys next week. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and you know, it'll give me a good idea, and I appreciate you guys watching my video and helping me out, and I'll see you next week.
Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.